Have you ever found yourself staring into the shimmering lights of a Christmas tree and for just a moment felt something else stare back, something not quite right, something ancient? Pause. A faint sound of a bell jingling in the distance. They say Christmas is a season of joy, warmth, and family, but for one family, it became something far darker. It became a doorway, a gateway to creeping darkness, a whisper that echoed through time. The music stops abruptly. The room feels colder now. Let me take you back to a snow-covered Christmas Eve. The bustling holiday crowds, the cheerful clinking of bells, everything seemed fine, didn't it? But there are things older than time itself that like to hide behind the veil of the season. The camera slowly pans toward a dark corner of the room, catching the soft flicker of a shadow. Have you ever noticed the way darkness lingers at the edge of the light, always watching, always waiting? The faintest breath is heard, like someone just outside of your view. It began with a trip to the mall. The Wilson family, known different than yours. Really, a determined father, a distracted mother, and a teenage son sulking in the back seat. It should have been a quiet, happy outing, capturing that Christmas spirit. But out in the parking lot, something waited, something unseen. The eerie silence is broken by a distant creak. Or is it a footstep? Tell me, have you ever felt the cold, icy shiver of unseen eyes on the back of your neck? You could have sworn someone was watching, couldn't you? What if I told you those weren't your nerves tingling, but something far worse? A long silence, the sound of wind rustling outside. A shadow loomed, and there it was, a figure that looked familiar but wrong, a grotesque imitation. The Grinch, they thought at first, but that wasn't the Grinch. No, this wasn't the playful green creature from the stories. There was something off. The camera closes in on the window, the trees outside swaying and creating unsettling shapes in the dark. The figure's reflection moves in the glass. His skin was too shiny, like something slick and wet under the pale light. His eyes burned with an unnatural, knowing as if he'd seen everything there ever was to see. The air around him shimmered, distorting, as if he weren't entirely there. Pauses, allowing the unsettling image to sink in. The sound of the clock ticking, louder now. They thought it was just some guy in a costume, a cheap Christmas joke. They told themselves that. But deep down, they couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. An uncomfortable beat, then a breath drawn, sharper now. Why was he still there? Why did his smile linger after they turned away? Why didn't he leave them be? There's a crackling noise like an electrical pulse that fades in, as if something just shifted in the air. The tension thickens. The figure followed, hidden in the fringes of the mall's glow, and they didn't think much of it at first, but as time moved on, they started to feel drawn, pulled in without realizing it. The screen cuts to a shadow creeping into the edge of the frame, just for a moment, too quickly to fully capture. And then came the question, what did he want? What did he want with them? The screen transitions seamlessly, slowly, now in a much colder, darker tone, growing more ominous, as if the very space is alive. A chill can almost be felt. Dark Whispers intro plays. Welcome to Dark Whispers, a place where even the light can't protect you, where shadows hide secrets, and the unknown is never quite as distant as you thought. Music lingers in the background as tension sets in, then a soft, almost imperceptible whisper echoes around the room, taking on a distorted, unnerving tone. Transition into the haunting tale. The family returned home from their shopping trip, laughing as they entered the door, hands full of brightly colored bags. Yet something was wrong. Their house, the warmth inside, somehow felt dimmer, colder. Their youngest son, Joey, had stayed behind, Although he hadn't wanted to come, the argument had been ugly too ugly. He'd been left behind. Below, with the Christmas tree, the camera focuses on the tree, a warm, festive beacon, but its lights flicker like a signal. Unsettling. No, this wasn't a punishment. It was an invitation. An invitation to something that couldn't be seen, but could always be felt. Joey curled up on the couch, blanketed, trying to ignore the uneasy hum that seemed to press down on him. Outside, snow was falling heavily, and yet, inside, the darkness crept closer, swallowed everything, even the light. His eyes darted to the tree, its glow flickering. There was something wrong. Joey freezes. His eyes widen as he notices the light from the tree pulsing, growing dim and bright in a strange rhythm. His breaths quicken. Joey thought he heard the far-off jingling of bells, but no, this wasn't right. These bells didn't sound like they should. Too shrill, too close. Pause. He frowned. A burst of static in the audio briefly distorts the ambient sounds, making everything around him feel muted. There it was again, only now it was worse and unnatural, sickening, burning. Was it the tree, the ornaments? No, it was something far worse, something far older. Joey turned, eyes glued to the scene unfolding before him. The Christmas tree, it was alive in a way that made every instinct scream to run. Lights crackled and popped as if they had their own life. Ornaments melted, distorting like wax under an unseen force. His dog barked in terror, but Joey was frowning like the eyes of the beast that now stood there, watching him. The figure's eyes glow, cold and hungry. The dark laughter breaks through the tense silence, chilling Joey to the bone. It was no longer just a man in a costume. No, it was something wild, something hungry. The Grinch, but not the Grinch. Not the one from childhood memories. Not this one. This thing had been waiting just for him. The Grinch pulled Joey's dog claws, tearing at its collar, dragging the poor animal across the floor toward a boiling pot, cackling low. Dark. Miss me, kid? The Grinch asked, his grin far too wide. Funny how Christmas cheer burns so easily, isn't it? Bet you wish you'd been good. Let's make this Christmas extra special. Shudder. Dread pours in. The temperature drops as Joey's heart races. The room twists, breathing in sync with the distorted figure before him. The walls buckled. The room bent and warped. Green, toxic light crawled across the floorboards. Symbols scratched deep into the wood, pulsed, vibrating like a living thing, crawling under Joey's skin, ripping at his sanity. There's an unsettling sound.